evening. I played a bit with Stephen, the guy that I played with the other day. We went to Cherno. I logged out basically on the top of Cherno, and I thought like this is a good time to do like a small like instructional video before the stream starts properly, because I'm probably gonna die by someone ghosting me on sniping. So I'm on the top of the. I'm gonna just quickly jump to the game. I'm on the top of the tower in Cherno, which should mean that you guys, I can at least do some sniping and show you about how to sit, where to stand, stuff like that. I posted my my link on YouTube, and one of my friends immediately was like, "Why are you using the big backpack?" Oh shit! I just joined a server with nobody on it. Okay. Well, I'll do the first part of the video on this, and then I'll switch servers. Alright, so, here's my dude. Yeah, so they're basically saying, switch to this backpack. Where is it? Here, hunting backpack. I mean, I can see why they say that, because obviously it's, you know, much lower profile, much better for that, you don't see it as easily. This is the tower in Cherno, so if you can see, there's the hillside up at the top there, that's the other side of the tower. I'd be like, that's the dude up there! Killed. No. So this is basically the sort of the best area for sniping in Cherno. But I mean, at the moment with the way that the servers work, it's actually pretty shit, because people can easily ghost, because it's so easy to jump between servers. So yesterday when we were up here, Stephen got ghosted by some guy who ghosted up to the top here and then just shot Stephen in the back, which is pretty lame. I mean, you can kill a sniper from here pretty easy. Oh, there's a player straight away. So here's a good example. Right, so you have to set, first of all, you have to set your thing at the top right here, as you can see, up there. I set to 300 meters. There is no way to check, you just have to guess. So at the moment there's no way to basically check on that. So it's basically designed, and I have only the secondary scope. So I'm watching the guy, and generally when they're moving around, it's best not to. You've got to wait until they're looting something, because it's very, very hard to hit someone on the move. If you've got the range correct, so this 300 meters, I know for a fact that fire station is almost exactly 300 meters away, so that was pretty lucky of me, because I was basically testing it on zombies the other day. So basically for 300 meters I can 100% target exactly on that reticule there, and that will basically allow you to, you know, to shoot the guy. With the Mosin, one shot will probably kill them. So you've got to like be aware that that first shot, and you are super loud. It's like a freaking cannon going off when you fire the Mosin. So in general, you got to be very careful with that. Obviously, on this server, there's not so many players, and I find with this building, for example, I can't walk to the edge. That's not actually a bad thing, but it does mean if I want to shoot someone downwards, then it's very difficult to basically sort of see them, so you have to crouch down to do that, and that makes you way more vulnerable. Right now, unless the dude is on this building, it's incredibly hard for him to see me, or anyone to see me. In fact, up there, they could be a player, but they need the really good scope to be able to even shoot at me for this point, so they'd have to be on the same building as me, or a building nearby the same height. I did let that player go, which is a bit annoying. But there is a player in town, so we can use that as a scout. Obviously, you've got to think, what will the player be doing? So he's gone into there from this way. So he's come down from the top, so he's probably got some gear. The best thing to do is at the beginning, just stay and observe. With sniping, you do have to observe a lot. So this is why I don't do it on the stream at all, basically, because it is pretty boring. But you just basically sit and observe. You've got to make sure, you've got to just watch an area for ages to get used to stuff. Stuff like a zombie, like, oh wait, a zombie over there, oh, can't do it with the zoom. But anyway, a zombie over there is very good, because in the daytime, the zombies aggro from freaking miles away onto players. So a zombie out in the middle will help you gauge whether there's a player there or not. So it's very easy to do, and players as long as your graphic settings are set right, players are super easy to find. The important thing, if I go configure, video and rendering, to disable ambient occlusion and post-process quality. Those two things actually make the game look worse, in my opinion. They just seem to sharpen it when you turn off, and thank you to the stream viewer who told me how to do that, because that was really useful. The second he did it was like switching to HD mode, basically. Right, this player is looks like he is lucky because I didn't actually pay attention to where he went on the stream. So what I'm going to do now is log over to this. You shouldn't do, but I'm doing it for the purpose of the video. Log over to a high population server. One thing I would recommend if you're going on the roof, if my guy actually stands up, there we go. If you're going to log in and out, always log in and out here in the shadow of this thing, because if you do log in, someone's not going to notice you very easily, which is really important. So anyway, quickly switching server to a high pop, and again, don't do this unless you're doing something educational, because it's kind of sucky to do it, but I really want to show you guys the actual shooting part of sniping. Okay, so there's a 27 and 40, that should be good. And obviously there's a few places on the map that are really important for sniping. Cherno, very, very good. Electro nowadays seem to be not so popular, so it's unlikely you're going to see players there. But obviously then you've got like North Airfield, which is amazing for sniping. There's actually a video up of me killing some guy on the airfield. Fairly, I might add. Right, so double check there's no dudes up here already doing what I'm doing. Okay, they're not. Always good to crawl. Actually, it's nice and fast now. In the old days, the crawling was actually pretty slow. This is the most likely place you're going to see players. Yesterday when we were playing, I looked over here, and what I saw in that doorway was some dude handcuffed on the ground with his friend. So I shot him and his friend. That was probably a little bit mean, but whatever. Okay, so as you can see, there's no zombies. Currently, zombies don't respawn when they're dead. So it's going to be very, very tough to, you know, it's going to be very tough to spot on a server that's been going for some time any kind of zombies in Cherno. But eventually, I guess when the full game comes out, the zombies will actively respawn, which is good. So for the moment, all I'm doing is just scanning the area fairly stably, just watching for movement. Sometimes birds really screw you up on this because they move quite quickly along and it's like a colour, but like you saw before, it's actually very easy to see players, especially when you're using a pretty decent computer rig. Okay, so there's a zombie over there in the distance. That's good to mark that as a point, a target. And on this map, on Cherno, the other thing to do is make sure that if you're going to move around on the roof, you do it in the middle of the roof. Getting randomly messaged by people. This is why you don't always message people, because they should be watching the stream to see what you're doing. Move around in the middle of the roof. And this zoom in is a little bit hacks, and to be honest, if you want to be like a real life player, that zoom in is probably the least realistic. But this roof's awesome because you can basically travel across this middle part and see the other side. You also have to figure out the most important points of the town. So here, where are the players going to go? They're going to go over there to that tech building. There's a zombie in the road. That's good to know. I can check there again. If the zombie's gone, I know there's a player there. They're going to go to those buildings over there, the two red buildings, because those have good loot. And they're going to go on this side to the hospital. This is the #1 place. Especially you're going to see people on the roof. Bear in mind that's about 150 meters, 200 meters away. So you'd have to change your zeroing for that one. There's another red house there. There's the coastal area. Most people go through Cherno, I would say, on that coastal area. From here, it's unlikely you're going to shoot those guys because they're a little bit too far away unless you've got... I mean, the Mosin can shoot them, but you will have to allow for the drop and the distance with the scope if you're using the smaller scope like mine. And it's going to be very hard to hit them. And in some ways, it's not worth giving away your position. You want to see if you're you know, if you're able to spot them from further away or whatever, or just watch them and see if they come closer to the town. So on this side of Cherno, so let's say the west side, you've got these houses here. People are going to run between the houses. It's going to be very hard to snipe somebody in there. You've got the places that players are going to stop. Number one of the entire Cherno is this fire station. So if you look up there, it's directly across from there, very close to the church. The fire station is super freaking looty McLoot place. That's where you want to go for loot. There's always a pistol there. There's always some ammo. Hey sir, Captain Chip. Welcome to the stream, dude. So it's actually very difficult. Plus, they are going to go over there to that grocery store thing. They're also going to come from this direction, the west. Either along the coast if they're a newbie player, or in these woods if they're a decent player. If they're a very decent player, they will have gone up here first to try and get some kind of weapon, because obviously you don't want to go into the town for that. So, at the moment we're just sitting around hoping that there's going to be some players joining in. I'm crouching. Crouched like this, it's almost impossible to see me from the ground. If I move, however, if you watch my character, he stands up to move. So every time he moves, he stands up, like this. So when he stands up, he's much easier to see. So obviously, if you're moving around the roof in general, best to crawl. Like I said before, crawling is pretty damn simple nowadays, and actually very smooth and not buggy like the old days. You're not going to bug through the floor here. I think they must have added this edge here so that you can't fall off. But also it does prevent you being able to snipe any kind of short distances. But that's fine. I mean, that's just the way it goes. So, I'm just going to sit around on this server to see if I can find some player to shoot. If I can't, I will jump to another server and we'll see if we can find someone. And as I said before, purely for the process of training here. We are not normally jumping between servers like this because it's basically a dick thing to do. Best to stay on the server you're on. If you're going to switch servers, do it in a place where it's not going to affect other people's games. One thing else I would say about sniping is make sure your bag is full of stuff. You want food, you want ammo, you want water, liquid, all kinds of stuff. I've got a ridiculous amount of ammo in my bag for some reason, just from randomly looting. Obviously the ammo for the Mosin comes from these things, the 5.66mm 20 rounds, or you can get the 7.62mm rounds, which are these ones here. So actually 7.62 is the main rounds that you use. Best to combine the stacks so they don't get in the way. And one thing that I was told on the server, always good idea to eject your current ammo and add your new ammo every time you switch servers. At the moment, just because there's a bug with that. But obviously remember, reloading is very loud. Okay, so let's go across. So constantly checking the road here and the train track for players running. The sides there, you're not going to see players inside there. This route along the front here. In general, I wouldn't bother shooting newbie players unless you plan... Okay, so player down here. Okay, spotted. There he is, down there. In fact, 2 players down there. That range is less. So I'm going to put it 200 meters. Okay, so he's likely to come out of the door behind. So let's see what we can do. So there's a zombie following him into the door. Okay, there's one player. There's the other player. I want to get a position where I can see them both. And fire. He fails miserably on his first